Greetings, humans. I'm Andre. Welcome back to the Windmill full of corpses. I'm here joined by Chris, Robert, and Carl from an abstract illusion, all the way from Sweden. Thank you guys very much for joining.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Nice having us.
How are you guys doing? Everything all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Decent.
All good.
Decent.
All good. Yeah.
Okay, so to get started, the obvious. Your new album, Whoa, was just released. I think it came out like a couple of weeks ago. I've already listened to it a lot. How are you feeling to finally have it out, and how was the response to the release?
It feels pretty fantastic, I would say. The response has been, pretty much overwhelming. We expected some good response from our fans, but we didn't really expect so many new people listening to our music and enjoying it in this way, I think.
Yeah, I think
I agree. Since I guess it's kind of an obscure genre that we play, so that we have reached out to so many people now, and that's just fantastic. And all the reviews and all that, we're just extremely humble with the response.
Awesome. Well, personally, I think the response is well deserved. And a new album, I guess, will always bring in new fans. So it's great to see you guys are growing and more people are finding out about you. So for those of us who have been here for a long time, myself included, my brother and I discovered an abstract illusion, I think, less than a year after Illuminate the Path was released.
Yeah.
There's been.
I think I remember that. Yeah, I think I remember you seeing some. Oh, this is some Romanian twins that follows us now. I was like, yeah, cool, love it. And you were
badass.
diehard fans from the beginning, and
we remember you.
It feels
Really?
like we know you already.
Yeah. We're bros already.
No way! I just remember texting with one of you when I bought the merch, which unfortunately I don't have with me right now. So Spirit Box it is.
We forgive you.
Thank you. Wow, that actually means a lot that you remember us from so long. We were just discovering metal and everything, and started diving directly into the obscure. And you were just a band a friend of ours actually randomly found on the internet, and we started listening to it, and it was like, this is insane. So we've basically been fans ever since, and this is one of our most awaited new albums of our lives. So
Awesome.
Wow.
Wow, cool.
So speaking of most awaited, what was it that delayed the release so long? Did it really take so long to make, or were there external issues?
Oh yeah.
Where to start? We started recording the drums in late 2017, and then I moved to Iceland for half a year, and then we recorded some vocals and some synths in late 2018. So that was them done, and then we recorded keyboards a little bit around the way, and then. I think a lot of it was me having to kind of put my home studio together to record the bass and drums, and I think we were done with all of the files in early 2021, and then some external issues, and then we finally got it done in this year. So I think we are not the most the fastest band to work.
Not the most efficient band would be the correct. But I think another factor is that we all moved around a lot, and we haven't lived in the same town, or Sweden is a big country, and I live in the north of Sweden, and they very far
I can imagine.
south. So it's that's also a factor that.
Yeah, we don't really hang out every weekend, so it's hard. You have to do a lot of planning to get all three of us in the same room together to kind of work on an album or record music.
Well, I can totally see why that would be difficult. My brother and I were just separated for a while I was here and he was in Romania, and we had to do reactions like recording Zoom calls, and just that was already so complicated. So I can't even imagine what it's like making an album from a distance.
Yeah.
No, it was challenging, but we made it work. Thankfully, though, it's I mean, we had the possibility to. Obviously, Carl was in Iceland for half a year, and I mean, Robert, you were also abroad for a while in Namibia.
I was in Namibia for a while.
Yes, I spent a year on Crete. So during this entire like process, so I mean, and we have had studies, and we intended like our original thoughts was to maybe put out the album like in 2000. I don't know what we said like originally, like 2018.
Yeah. That was the plan.
Yeah, optimistic as fuck. And but by the time we set a date, I think we made a Facebook post by New Year's 2020, right?
Yeah.
And we said that we're going to release the new album in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
And we and July and September, and we started counting. Like we came closer and closer to the date where we to December to New Year, and people were starting writing to us like, guys, just a couple of days left. When is the album coming? But we decided to delay it an additional 9 months basically, because it didn't feel good. And I believe that's the entire kind of, I don't know if I'm going to say philosophy, but I mean, we don't, all three of us have to be satisfied with the result of something before we actually leave it to, or before we take it to production and release it. And if one of us isn't satisfied with it, then obviously we have to go back to it and basically start finding different ideas or rearranging it, or stuff like that. So that was, I think, the last couple of edits were like this, why we postponed it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes, it does. And personally, I actually am of the belief that it's better to let it boil than rush a release that you're not pleased with. I know a lot of bands that just churn out another release every 1 or 2 years, and it's the same thing all over again, and they're just not relevant for me.
I think you bring up a good point as well, because I mean, we recorded all the drums in 2017, so in a way we had a framework that we had to stick to. I mean, we couldn't start rearranging the songs, but at the same time, we could let the songs kind of sit for a while and think about, and how could we make them more interesting. So, in a sense, we had to be focused on what we had, but also inside of that framework, we could be as creative as possible. And I think that helped us have kind of like a cohesive album, but also well thought out, in my opinion.
Yes, great. Okay, so next question. Would you say that you became better musicians while working on this album?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
I'm definitely getting that sense when listening to it, because it's just like the shock of how striking and how, I guess, challenging are some of the parts is really surprising. It feels updated from the previous one.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more technical from all of us, really. Not only the guitars, or just the arrangements as well.
Yeah.
I mean, people have said that we have matured some from Illuminated Path, which had some songs that dated back to our origins. Really early days. Like there was some stuff there from like 2009, 2008, and but we still wanted to put it on Illuminated Path. But this material is basically it was all new.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
So there's no more of the rookies in the new material.
I think there may be something that dates back a bit, and future material might have something dating back. But I mean, now we know that we can just take the old stuff where we feel like this is a good melody or this is a good chord progression, but we can be more like, this is how we want to sound, but still keep like maybe the core idea. So I think that's one thing we learned from Illuminate, that we kind of wanted to take our time and develop things, even if they were old. I mean, old doesn't necessarily mean that they are bad. So I think we learned a lot as songwriters and producers and arrangers for this album as well.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm always interested in how the creative process goes behind such complex things, I guess. And I mainly want to ask you about writing. How do you guys write an album like this? Do you do it together? Is there someone who's like the mastermind and then the others just chip in? Do you all write your own parts? How does it go?
I would say that Carl is the mastermind, absolutely. But he's extremely humble with his musicianship. So, me and Chris, we can chip in with our ideas all the time. But I think Carl is fantastic to, if I have an idea, he can do it much better than I would have done. So I think that's good. But still, we have been around for so long, so we know how we want to sound. So if I ever write something, then my main inspiration is Carl's work. So at least when it comes to abstract, so an abstract illusion. But Carl is definitely the mastermind. I would say. So, but after all, we have played together since I joined the band in 2008, and Chris joined in 2009. So we played with each other for so long, so we know each other as musicians. So
and we also know what we want to, what kind of music we want to play. I mean, I think that now, since Illuminate, we kind of consolidated the kind of style that we want to play. I mean, we want to have certain elements. I mean, obviously the calm bits and also the heavy bits, and now we added more of the I guess the chaotic vibes as well. So I mean, I think our process is mainly that, I mean, someone comes up with kind of like a core idea, like the piano piece Blomsterkrans was Robert's idea. So then we kind of took it. Yeah, it's a great song. So we kind of took that one and then developed it with, I mean, strings and added the drums and the spoken word, and also the kind of melody you can hear all over the album. Since it's one song, we have bits and pieces, but rearranged differently. But I mean, the core principle is that we have a skeleton of a song, and then we have, when we feel like we have a good basic idea, I mean, this sounds good, how can we make it better? Then we start adding, maybe we should have I don't know, piano solo here or a guitar solo here or some kind of clean choir or something. So we kind of make it more interesting inside of that. So we don't go, so we don't start with the idea, we want to do something really technical here, or we want to have this kind of arpeggio here. It's more like, this is a good, nice chord progression or melody or beat or something, and then we kind of fill it up so it becomes more textured and interesting for the listener.
Yes, awesome. So it sounds kind of like first structure, then details. I guess it's a good way to go about it. I I think I can hear what you're saying in the music. For example, if I listen to Prosperity, to that first part, it's like the riff is pretty clear and everything, but then the whole soundscape when the strings come in and everything elevates is so surreal that there's no way that was composed in the first idea.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the thing that we had a basic idea. We want the beats to go like this, and then we think, then we can have this kind of drop where everything just comes in with tremolo leads and choir and strings and everything. So I mean, that's the kind of thing that you have to sit on. It doesn't come, or at least not for us, it doesn't come like instinctively. It's more like we sit on it and think, how can this be more interesting? And then we kind of come up with those small things that I think elevate the song.
Okay, awesome. So I think I saw on the Metal Archives that Chris is not credited to have recorded the drums on this album. Did they get it right? And if so, why?
I was not credited. I played everything on. No. We actually had a session drummer that named Lath that did all the drums on this song or on this album. Absolutely amazing musician. He nailed it.
Drummer.
Yeah, he nailed the entire album in 1 weekend.
In 1 weekend?
Two days.
Oh,
2 days.
no, I'm sorry. 1 weekend, 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days.
Okay.
It's brutal. It was insane, and he didn't have a lot to work with either. I mean, it was 2017 after all. We had basically almost everything that Carl writes is in a software called Guitar Pro. It's ancient as fuck.
I know it.
Yeah, you know it. It's
Love
ancient as
Guitar
fuck.
Yeah.
And we've been using it since like 2007. I don't know, probably earlier.
I think so.
Yeah, and so he worked with those goddamn MIDI files and had like a metronome and maybe some guitar riffs or something like just to fill out the MIDI sounds. And recorded everything in 2 days with that.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
So it's incredible how we kind of nailed the whole vibe of the album without even hearing like real guitars or real keyboards or anything or vocals. So we were just sitting there. We're like, how does he do it? So I don't know. He's a great drummer.
Yeah.
Awesome, but like, how do you do it? Because y'all did everything else just as good.
A lot of time and patience.
I guess.
Yes.
I can tell you I didn't record all my guitars in 2 days. That's for sure.
Yes. Can we expect like a behind the scenes recording like we got from Illuminate the Path where we could just see you cursing at that same guitar lick over and over and over?
I think we recorded some things. Not as much as for Illuminate. We've been saying
it's a shame. It's a shame that we didn't do it.
We have
We're gonna have to think about that for the next album.
No. We have recordings of Robert doing the solos, both for the Rhodes solo and the solo in the end of The Torment Has No End, Only New Beginnings. And that it's super atmospheric because we turned off all the lights and we lit candles, right?
Yeah.
And everything. It was set in an apartment. Yeah, it was super atmospheric. And Robert was playing his solo. Yeah, it was delicious to sit there. I didn't do shit. I just sat there.
Well, you actually pushed the button when I recorded
That's true.
The rock organ.
Yes, I did. I pushed one button. Yeah. So I'm featured on
Rotary.
keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be featured on the keyboards.
Yeah,
or
it
at
should
least
be.
on
Yeah.
keyboard
Vocal.
button or something.
Yeah, vocal slash back keyboards.
Back
We'll
keyboards.
see. We'll see. Carl, guitar and bass. Robert, keyboards. Chris, a button.
One.
Oh, that's
One
that's
button.
basically it.
The
Yeah.
button.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
button.
it kind of makes the whole album. So I mean,
Yeah.
Chris contributed as much as Robert, I think, over the. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. It was great.
Right.
But I mean, we have some material that we recorded, and it would be fun to kind of put it into a video. I think we said it for 3 years now, and I haven't done it yet. So who knows? Maybe in 6 years you will have a studio diary for WoW. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
If the album
Working
takes
Wintersun
longer,
tempo here.
yeah,
Yep.
almost.
No sauna though.
Yeah.
Oh,
no
sauna.
sauna. Is that a Wintersun reference?
Yep. I mean,
Yes.
you haven't heard about how they crowdfunded like what is it, 500,000 euro or something for a studio?
168 exactly.
Yeah, like insane amounts to build a studio with a working sauna.
I know.
and they
I
needed
was
that.
part-
They needed
I
that to record.
participated in the crowdfund.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You were hopeful. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I love Wintersun. I think it's the first album that Jari Mäenpää did is perhaps one of the best albums
Yeah.
ever. But he haven't. Yeah. they haven't
Personally,
done
I
anything
love
else that good.
everything they put out. Even the last one, I thought it was pretty good, although it's my least favorite.
Mhm.
Musically, they're still one of my favorite bands, and they're basically the band that got me into death metal and like screaming and the extreme part of metal. So they'll always have a place here for me.
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between letting an album boil and letting it boil until the fire runs out and then it freezes and then it evaporates and then you have nothing left. And I think
true.
they're going towards that at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually you gotta let go. You can't have everything exactly perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, it's a shame with Wintersun because they are so good and they are such good musicians
Yes.
and I mean songwriters. So it's a shame how it turned out for them.
yeah.
Yeah.
If they ever put something out, I'll still jump right on it. So
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I'm there for them. Right. So you recently signed to Willowtip Records.
Mhm.
How did this come about, and what does it mean for an abstract illusion? What opportunities does it open for you?
I mean, obviously, it's really cool because I mean, Willowtip is a very respected underground label in death metal. So if you're signed to them and you said will kind of listen to the promos because they think Willowtip, that's really quality. And so it opens up a kind of market that we haven't really penetrated. But I think we're starting to do that now, which is really cool. And I mean, they are a great help when it comes to layout for the vinyls and CDs and marketing, all of that, and printing up merch because they have like 20 years of experience in the business. So, and we have always been in do-it-yourself kind of thing. So to be able to have that kind of experience behind us is really nice, I think.
Great. They sound like good guys. I have heard a few Willowtip releases before, and I think they're a very good label. And usually when a band I like is signed to a label, I'm like, yay, good going for that band. But when you signed to Willowtip, I was thinking like, good going for Willowtip. Now they've got a band that makes all the ones they have look like an embarrassment.
Thank you.
And another thing I actually wanted to ask you about that is all their music is very much either black metal or technical death metal. It's very, very brutal. So is that also part of the reasons why you ended up releasing Slaves as a first single? It's most in line with what they do as far as I'm concerned. Is that the case?
I think we had to kind of I mean, for the first part, why we actually reached out to Willowtip because we have some friends on the label, Countless Skies, and they are like a more of a progressive, like metal-death kind of vibe. So I mean, they are really great. So
I see that.
so that's kind of like why we wanted to why we knew Willowtip, because I mean we're not that familiar with the style of the sign, so that's why we reached out. But I mean, when it came to WoW, it was kind of hard to find the singles to release, because I mean some songs takes a long, some of the different parts take a long time to like build, maybe like tear down this holy mountain, which is like build up for, I don't know, 3 minutes or something, and we kind of didn't want that to be like the lead single. So I think we argue that Slaves is more like the most, I mean, yeah, it's very technical, it's very fast, it starts going right away, and it's not like 14 minutes.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to open up with Slaves to see, maybe could draw in some of the more technical crowd, death metal crowd, and then we really felt like In the Heavens Above would be a good follow-up single, because it's more in line with maybe Illuminate the Path-ish, kind of more atmospheric, more longer songs that evolve over time. And I think it was both of those singles out.
Yeah, personally, I think they're probably the best choices for singles, because for all the other songs, they're sort of so integrated into the full piece that they don't make that much sense as just one song. So these could kind of be pulled out of it and still make sense as a whole. Okay, so while we're talking about In the Heavens Above, we reacted to that song, and in that reaction, we mentioned a so-called female human person thingy. Female human person thingy. Wording aside, who is this person, and how did you end up having her on the album?
It's Carl.
It's me. I'm singing.
No, it's Carl, exactly. Carl is a fantastic soprano.
Yeah, of course.
It's a good friend of mine that I studied with when I lived in Piteå, a town in northern Sweden, and we studied together for 2 years, and I thought she had a great voice, and we were in the middle of recording some vocals and stuff, and I thought, yeah, why not try do that part with her? And it turned out fantastic. I think it sounds great. But we also have a lot of harmonies under that you perhaps can hear, but that's me, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Contributing some, at least.
Yeah, I feel she added a lot, because it also comes on a more, I think, keyboard driven parts, or like almost symphonic, and for me, like, the more keyboard and orchestral driven parts often mix well with the more female or opera driven voices, so I think it was a great way to like boost that effect even more on that specific part, and also to have a bit of a shocker in the album, because people probably aren't see it coming, so it's a standout moment in a way.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a very nice effect, because I mean, you've heard this demon screaming behind the microphone 10 minutes before that, and then suddenly like this angelic female voice comes in, and I think it's a bit of a shocker, and I think that's a good thing to have in your music. Elements that surprise you but doesn't really feel like they shouldn't be there. So yeah.
And it also doesn't feel like it was put there just for the shock effect. Like, look, we have a female singer here. It's like it actually it's integrated in the song very well.
Great to hear.
Right. So while we're talking about standout moments, I also have to ask about the electronic part in Tear Down This Holy Mountain. I don't think anyone expected, once we've heard Slaves, to be hit with an electronic beat and what to me felt like a smooth jazz solo. So, where did that come about?
I mean, I listen to a lot of electronic music, so I think that it comes from there. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, we kind of felt like it would be a good choice to have, and we're never afraid to try new things. So having like a electronic drum beat with 808s, I think it's a pretty cool moment, which maybe also catches people off guard. I've seen a few comments about that, mostly in like a positive way. So I think it was maybe like, oh, we kind of want to have a more chill part here, because the previous part was from the spoken word to the blast beats and the more riffy guitars. Then you have this very calm moment. So we kind of wanted to build on that. Yeah, I mean, we do what we feel like in the songs, what we feel would be the best way to go about it. So no limits, actually, which is very it's a very freeing feeling to have.
Yeah, I love that about the album. You never know what's gonna come next, but it's somehow still.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's no limits, but at the same time, it's not all over the place. It's organized enough so that it makes sense and it has a direction. So
yeah, I think that's the most important part about how we write songs. It's not that we feel like, oh, wouldn't it be really cool to have this electronic drum beats to kind of shock the audience. It's more like how the song naturally progresses. It's not we have to put this in just to put it in. It has to feel right as well.
yeah, it feels right. Feels right to me.
Good.
Right. And I want to ask about vocals because I'm not really sure how you guys do it. I think on Illuminate the Path it was Chris was all the screaming and Robert was all the clean vocals. Is that the same here? And do I have it right?
Well, not really. I guess. Well, Chris does all the screams and growls, but I would say that the clean vocals on Illuminate were 50-50. And the same goes for Whoa, it's 50-50, you know. But sometimes you can't hear the differences between my voice and Chris' voice. So, but I like the way that we work, that we can work together. Like, even though Chris is the singer, I still get to do some clean vocal parts, and I think that's really fun for me.
To add a point to that, that's also an additional thing that we do, that we take into consideration when we write the music, because like me and Robert, sure, in the context we listen to the music, maybe you can confuse who is whom, but when we have different types of voices, and Robert's voice could fit better than mine, or vice versa in certain parts, and then we normally either try out both, or we try one and then we're not really satisfied with it, so we try another. So we're not just saying like we're gonna have clean vocals here, because we can take we decide, okay, we're gonna have clean vocals here, who is gonna sing it? Are we gonna have Robert, or are we gonna have Chris, or are we gonna do both? And so that's also something we take into consideration when we write these types of clean sessions.
Awesome. On that note, what I want to ask is the final lyrics in the album, the a cappella part in This Torment Has No End, Only New Beginnings. Complicated title. Which of y'all did that one?
Which
What's you, Chris?
Yeah. Yeah. Wait. Yes. Yes. I just
That
gotta. Yeah. Oh my god. It's a 1 hour long song. I just need to replay. Oh, okay. Yeah. 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 That was me. That was me.
Awesome job. It's one of the best moments in the album. I love it.
Thank you, my friend.
When it came and we heard it, my brother and I were both like, I can't believe they actually did that. You're not allowed to do that. That's too good. Fangirling out of the way.
Awesome.
Right. Concept. So the main theme for this album is oppression, and that's pretty much all I know. And I think in Slaves, at least, what oppression it's about is pretty clear. But for the others, it's kind of, I guess, abstract. So can you detail a bit on why you decided for this concept and how you write your lyrics and what you actually aim to convey or not convey, confuse the listener, maybe?
Like, for this album specifically, the lyrics were mostly written by me, and they are written in a. They're not really open for interpretation that much. Illuminate the Path had a completely different type of setup when it comes to lyrics, and Carl wrote basically everything on that album. And you can really see the difference there. And I believe that I had some texts. Basically, when I write texts from time to time, just long ass texts, and then we kind of went through it and like, does this fit? Are we going to go with this as a theme? And well, basically bounce it back and forward. And like, are you okay with this? Do you like this? Should we take something out? And then by the time we kind of finally all agree on the lyrics, then we apply it and we try it out. And with but first we do recordings or tests without vocals. Oh, I'm sorry, without lyrics. So just kind of try out, do I want to have the growl, or do we want to have the growl here, or this, do we want to have cleans here? Sure. And then we're trying to kind of, well, I guess fit the lyrics to that part. So yeah, but we came to the conclusion that the overarching theme was going to be oppression. And yeah, and the lyrics are basically about that. And as you said, like, Slaves is pretty obvious what it is. It's extremely controversial, and we were very yeah, when we released it, we kind of knew beforehand what we would would have. We did know what was coming, and but it's we got some backlash that was kind of not in I don't know. It was weird because the song obviously is to you put the listener into the point of view of the oppressor, right? And from that point of view, you see everything that he does or whatever. And for some reason, this, as I said, like, these lyrics aren't that open for interpretation, but somehow some people believed it was. I mean, we were trying to convey a message of like pro rape or pro like that type of feeling, and it was the completely other way around, because that was not supposed to kind of hit the listener like a punch in the stomach and kind of like, this is the reality, and you can sugarcoat it however you want. You can put it aside, or you can just put on your and just ignore it. But that's the way it is. This actually happens, and suddenly people find it offensive. So that was the idea behind that. But originally the idea behind that came from an article that I read back in 2017, because there actually was a woman that was she was raped, and I can't remember exactly where this was, but she was raped, and then when her family not what do you call it, disowned her, and basically blamed everything on her, and said that she was she was the reason. She had brought dishonor over the family, which ended up in them leaving her out on the street, and then she eventually got stoned to death, basically. And that really grabbed me. It really, I remember how upset I was when I read it, and that's when I wrote the lyrics. And so it's based from that incident, because when I saw the article, I wanted to find more. I wanted to see more, because this was like really horrible. I was like, damn, this is a disaster. But I couldn't find anything more, and that's kind of when I realized this isn't news. This was just one article, because you don't need anything more, because this happens all the time, every day, and so of course it isn't news, right? So and that pissed me off. So that's where the lyrics to Slaves come from.
That puts a lot more perspective into it. For me, it was clear that it's just very much shock value in the song. And I think at first, like, you probably saw our reactions, we like legit didn't know what to say, because when it all hits you, I think, like you said, you were very pissed off at first when you found out. It's like, you don't really know how to respond to something like this. It's so brutal and in your face in a way. And then it's like, you want to somehow respond in a way that's like good. Like, you don't want to be for that. Like, you don't want to be in favor of it, but you don't really know how to like treat it, because it's so difficult. So I think, for me, I think you kind of managed to get your own experience across to the listener pretty well. And of course, when I hear of things like this, I've heard stories like this more than once. It's always just a shock, and it's very disheartening that there's not much you can do about something like this if you don't even know about it when it happens, and that people are so uneducated about stuff like this. So,
but but I also feel that some people have responded to it very. I mean, they didn't really understand what we were going for, but there's also a lot of people that knew what we were going for. So I mean, if you want to be controversial, you gotta handle to be that not everyone will get what you mean, but we will live with it, so it's fine.
Yeah,
and it was our first song back after 6 years, so it was kind of like a punch in the dick, like, we're back. But that's why we chose Slaves.
Yeah, my mom is also a fan of yours, by the way, and when she saw that one, she was a bit like, this is not really for me. But then when the second single came out, she was like, yes!
Awesome.
Probably a question that you might find annoying, and that I'm sure I'm not the only one asking. Is there any possibility that you're gonna take this new album, or maybe also your previous album, to the stage at one point?
We hope so. We're looking into a few different options. We have kind of live members that we could bring with us to play a few dates, I guess. I think that the songs would translate well to a live environment. So I think all three of us kind of really want to get it out on tour as well, to meet people and then play our songs and get it out there.
Yeah. That would be great. It would be awesome to see this phenomenon happen live. Have you ever played live before?
Yep.
When?
A lot when we when we still lived in the same region of Sweden.
So
I mean,
that was like 13 years ago.
Not 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have had one live gig in I think the last one was 2014, and then we had one in 2020, right before the pandemic came. So I mean, before that we have played a lot around our home region, but since we all started moving away, we haven't played a lot or at all. Once in
the thing is that I think we've only played once to a metal audience.
Oh.
So every single time we have played was in like either a competition or something like for overall bands, regardless of genre.
like open scenes.
Yeah, exactly. Or something arranged by some random event in our hometown. Or the only people coming to watch us were they were our friends, maybe our parents if they felt bad, and if we had like an audience of 5, maybe, and we played for a long time with that. But I believe that's every stepstone for a band. Like you need to start out playing for no one, to at least get an appreciation of what it is like. But we used to play a lot back in the day. But we all lived in the same time. We were kids. We had no. Yeah, that's the only thing we did. Basically, we played music all days.
But like Chris said as well, you kind of gain an appreciation when you do that kind of like slow gigging, when you're just doing it for random people who don't really enjoy metal even. So when we had our latest gig, which was in 2020, we did it for the Wacken Metal Battle Sweden, which is like the competition to try to get to play in at the Wacken Open Air.
Awesome.
So that was like, I mean, we played a kind of like a club gig for 100 people who all enjoyed metal, and I think that's the kind of the best gig we had, because that's everyone appreciated the kind of music that you play, even if they haven't heard about us. It's still, you kind of get like the metal response to the music. I mean, try to play like Abode of a God or Illuminate the Path or Skeletons of Light in front of like 10 people who don't like metal even. I mean, it's not the most accessible sub-genre of the metal genre. So I mean, you're really trying to play hard to get when you do it in front of that kind of audiences.
Yeah. But hey, you did it anyway, so good for you. I don't think I don't think I'd have it in me to perform metal in front of a non-metal audience. So
we didn't have a choice.
I guess that's what all bands did at that time. Back in like 2009, 2010, 11. That's was our we had other friends doing it. And even though like people didn't appreciate it or listen to metal, it was still fun. I mean, we had fun going around, these really small competitions, shitty gigs, but it was great fun. I don't regret it at all, but it's gonna be interesting to see if we're ever gonna play live, which I really hope we will do. It's gonna be really special to when we've been like at those super shitty gigs, to have a decent gig in somewhere in Europe. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. and hopefully my brother and I would have decent travel possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where would we? Where is usually the closest place near you? Is it Amsterdam?
We have a venue right here in Nijmegen, and it's called Doornroosje, and we get like pretty big bands playing here. We're gonna see Flesh God Apocalypse there. We're gonna see
Oh,
Obscura
really?
there. Periphery. So
Woo!
Oh.
Nice.
Nice.
there's venues all over the place. It's like if there's a place in the Netherlands that's not an actual village, that's somewhat of a town, it probably already has a venue where they play metal concerts. So
Okay.
and anyway, anywhere in the Netherlands, if you make it, like this country is so small and the transportation is so good that we can get there within 3 hours. So it's nothing.
Nice. Cool.
Let's hope.
Yes, I really hope so. Okay, and the last question. Usually we like to end these interviews on a comical note. And I was thinking, I'm actually curious about this, is the title of the last song on this album inspired by the act of rehearsing?
That's pretty funny. No, it doesn't. It isn't. But I mean, we can pretend it is. I guess
That would be good.
every time I sit down to practice my guitar, I start thinking about that song title. Oh no!
Yes. We have played instruments a bit ourselves, so we can kind of relate to that feeling of
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's everything I had. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the album. It's absolutely amazing. I will keep listening
Thank
to
you
it
so much.
daily. And
Thank you.
I guess you're very welcome. And I guess I will also tell as many people as I possibly can about it, and hope a lot of people watch this video so they get to know about you guys.
Yes, and
that's
thank
it.
you for having us, and
Thank you.
say hi to your brother from us
Oh, I definitely will.
And your mother,
and your mother.
who's
Yes.
also a fan.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
I like snacks.
I'm actually trying to quit
Yeah.
sweets.
Mm.
I've been an addict for a while.
Mm. But this is a protein bar, so that's
Oh.
okay.
Protein, man.
Mm-hmm.
I only like sweets if they're unhealthy.
Mm.
Chris actually
Just
lost
show
a
it.
lot of weight. You lost like 20 kilos.
30.
Right? 30 kilos, that's insane. Recording of Woe, we have all lost a lot of weight and we gained a lot of weight and then we lost that weight again. So
All the weight that you lost went into the songs, and that's why they're so heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
So I just have two more questions. I don't have songs. You have songs.